Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at something I've been meaning to take a look at for quite some time. This right here is the high-grade iron-blooded orphans, Rouei. And yeah, this is something I skipped on back when I was doing all of the high grades back in 2017. The reason for that was I can remember building the high-grade Hyakuren, I think it was called, and being grossly unimpressed by it, and I decided at the time I wasn't just going to bother with the rest of the particular Hyakuren kind of lineage. I preferred the kits that had a frame like the Gundam frames, the Valkyria frames, even stuff like the Shiden I found a whole lot more fun, and this line I didn't particularly like so much, so it will be interesting to see how my tastes have changed since. And as you can see by the box right here, it is a red labeled Bandai box, so this has been out for a while, 2017, so if you find it hard to get one of your own, you can get yours exactly where I got mine, and that is through those fantastic people over at Rouei. Now let's get this unboxed and get it built. Alright, so this is one of those high-grade iron-blooded orphans boxes that's like absolutely wafer thin. So there was never really a whole lot of plastic in these. They were very quick builds. They were touch and go. Some were good, some were not the greatest. But then again, a lot of the time gunpla is only as good as the effort you're going to pop into it. On these sides there, we can see what we're going to be expecting inside of it. It says the heavy club, or even heavy club, can be secured onto the waist. We also have a handgun included as well. Enjoy creating impressive poses by using its whole body structure. And then it says the booster covers on the back can open. So that's a pretty cool little gimmick right there. Arms are movable by partially inserting or pulling the shoulder joints halfway, and the handgun can be secured to the waist. So there's quite a few gimmicks in this little guy right here. And it does say there's more stuff out here available to be bought, including the option sets, all of which were definitely a whole lot of fun. I wish Bandai would make another line that has so much kind of side little DLC boxes to buy to kind of bolster your high grade or whatever grade armory. So in here we've got 2 bags of runners, as well as the little manual. This right here is a post-2016 kit, so it does have all of your information in English there, about the mobile suit itself, as well as about the pilot right there, Aji Gurumin. Around in the back, all of the gimmicks and equipment going on here, pretty much same as what we saw on the side of the box. Again, get the option set for even more weapons and equipment. It's a fold-out manual, and here we've got 5 runners, 2 of which very small, stickers and some polycaps, so way below your typical high-grade average, which was usual for the IBO kits. But I mean, these are also cheap as hell. That's 1,200 retail when it was released. Sometimes you get them less. The exchange rate back then, not quite as impressive as it is right now, but by today's exchange rate, that would be about, what, $8 or so? €7? Super cheap. When it comes to the runners, again, we do have 6 of them included, looking nice. The parts decently enough color separated. We've got quite a few weapons, the handgun, the mace, and because we've got a Hyakuren frame in here, or well, not necessarily a frame, but kind of main set of parts, it does mean we do have the blade as well as the rifle from the Hyakuren included too. This kit comes in a nice, almost like desaturated blue, or what I'd almost say like a cool gray. It looks a little bit bluer on camera from what I'm seeing, but it is very gray-esque. When it comes to the polycaps in here, it's the smaller Revive style set, and there are some stickers included too. So there are some big areas of this kit that are color inaccurate. So you may want to paint those up, or you could use these stickers that are included, but they won't be the greatest. These have aged a little bit as well, because they've been in there for, I guess, the guts of a decade. So jumping on into the build, and we're going to be starting as usual with the legs. So this is one of them complete, so we do have a usual kind of pivoting hip joint up here with the usual polycap inside. This right here is the knee joint, so we have a nice recessing bit of armor up here. Down here is a little on the basic side, and when it comes to the foot, it is rock solid. Can move up and down just like so, and there are a couple of stickers in its construction, which we'll take a peek at now. There is the inside of the hip joint, so just a polycap between 2 pieces of plastic. Knee joint here is just a simple bend. The construction of the knee joint here is quite interesting. This is the internal structure here. So that is the lower knee joint. This here is the upper knee joint. And then you sandwich it all together like so. So it bends down here, as well as this big chunky up here. The upper leg armor is 2 pieces which snap together like so. This marks quite a bit, this dark plastic, and the gates are right on the seam, which doesn't look the greatest. There is a bit of color inaccuracy here, so dipping on into the stickers, and we get this guy up here. A little bit something like that right there. Knee joint attaches on. Upper armor slides down from above, drop it down to the foot, and we have a fairly interesting joint for the ankle. So that is the ankle joint, closes up, and that attaches via a peg into this other segment. Into the bottom of the foot, put armor, another sticker, polycap slots in there. Interesting build to the lower leg. This is building up the back of the leg, another polycap, and that all locks in with the shin armor. Finally, assembly is lower leg to the foot, and this kind of looks like IBO's variant of the Dom. This then attaches in like so. Again, the standard Revive kind of tabs into slot polycaps. Then you attach on the waist joint, and there we go. One leg, or should I say, the two legs, complete. Up to the waist now, we've got one of those polycap balls that does nothing for the ab crunch. A bit of a moving hip mechanism which allows them to raise and drop like that. Seesaw style. Front armor, rear butt flap, storage bit attaches on, side skirts build up out of two pieces, hinge style polycap, and they just pop on either side like so. And now it's just time to jam on the pair of legs. There's one, and there is the second one. So pretty much halfway there, and definitely serving up some kind of like iron-blooded orphans Dom vibes. Moving now to the torso, and we've got the usual polycap shoulders. They're aligned to kind of move forward and back. Actually, they pop in that direction, but there doesn't seem to be much at all movement to them. Locks in from the back. Stickers for the yellow in the vents. Chest armor. Yellow sticker. The terrible old polycap neck. There we go. That seam line's been hanging open a little bit, but this clip mechanism is here to save the day. Kinda. Some dark olive green, under pistons, two pieces to the waist pops in from underneath, and then it's all finished off with this spine-esque section around back like so, and there we go. That then pops on with the polycap ball joint, just a little something like that. Moving on up the build now, or should I say out to the side a bit, and that is the shoulder. So the shoulder does move up here. The arm is mounted into the actual shoulder unit. We've got rotation up there, a little bit on the stiff side. There is the bend at the elbow, so a nice double jointed bend, and the standard kind of wrist down here. Overall, not too bad, besides the fact that the shoulder is kind of mounted right into the arm. And speaking of that mount, it's a polycap like so. That then mounts into the shoulder. Shoulder closes around it, so we do got a little bit of a seam line. Two stickers for these yellow segments. We've got a nice double jointed elbow bend, sandwiches in like that. Upper arm armor, gray in the back, the green in the front. Bit of detail on the back of the forearm. Elbow joint attaches in from the front, sandwiches in with a green section. A little bit of a wrist holding that together, and then the final assembly is just the hand via a ball joint, and then the shoulder again, it just kind of attaches on, mounted permanently with a little bit of a peg. The shoulders are the usual kind of Revive polycap joints, so they pop on like that, and the other one pops in like that. And now we're most of the way there. So next up, moving on to the head, and this right here is what it looks like completed. So we do have some stickers for the eyes popping through there, and it is predominantly in just the two colors. As for the build, you throw the lower section with the jaw and the neck joint into the two sides of the head like this. You pop the stickers onto a section that then pops through the mask front part, and that pops onto the front of it. Quite simple, but overall a nice, clean design. Then that just pops on like so. Lastly, then we've got a backpack. It slaps together like this. Lower section connects in. Top part then pops on. This whole section right here does require these massive stickers, but these are a bit critical. I'm not going to put them on. Missing that bit of color is a big letdown, but it's not the worst. It kind of looks like it's meant to be that way. At least that's my cope. And then these just slot down from the top here. It's one of those weird kind of joints that has a missing segment in it like that. But overall, that is what it looks like complete. There are some weapons in here. You attach the first one together out of the two parts. It's a simple mace with a little bit of a cutout attachment. The handgun attaches together just like so. An interesting design, most definitely. I do love the iron-blooded orphans weapons design so much. Simple, but cool looking. Although technically not a part of the kit, because this kit does have the joint runner from the Hyakuren, it does mean we do have its rifle, looks like this. Not quite as impressive. We also have the blade, which attaches together out of two simple parts, just like this, and this comes with a handy dandy little kind of scabbard section that it can attach down into, like so. Also, little backpack, or should I say, skirting attachment point. There are also a pair of fist weapons as well, which just attach together. A little something like that. Again, these are left over from the Hyakuren, not necessarily for this kit right here. Finally, into the aesthetics, and this right here is the high-grade Rouei out of the box complete, using the stickers included, but no extra effort. So no pan lines, no nothing like that, and just your usual double snip off the runners. There are a couple of nub marks here and there, but besides that, it turned out pretty decent. So jumping on into the overview first, and I have to say the high-grade Rouei right here does look very, very nice. This is a very unusual looking design when you think about Gundam model kits. It definitely seems to be the Iron-Blooded Orphans equivalent of a Dom, if you consider those big wide feet, the kind of bell-bottomed flared out legs, as well as that big butt flap around back. This is thick, it's big, and it's pretty cool. From what I'm seeing at a first glance, not really taking a look at the actual art of this or anything, the color separation is impressive. Sure, we do have a few stickers on the front, but they're just for the yellow vents. But besides that, it's nice. You've got the light blue, we've got a middle hue of blue, and then a dark navy blue. Instead of having kind of typical grays on this, and we do have typical grays when it comes to the various joints, but we also do have a nice, very deep, militaristic green in here as well that's almost bordering on a dark color like black. It's a unique color scheme, it does look nice. The couple of yellow stickers definitely pop on there, but they'd be better off detailed up. But what can I say, out of box, not a bad looking kit at all. Nothing really stands out too much. You can see a couple of hollow parts, but we'll dive in a little bit deeper for a closer look. So jumping on in a little bit closer for a little bit of a zoom in, and first off, the head is awesome. I have to say, there's not many mecha heads out there. This makes a whole lot of sense. It's just a big old plate of curved armor with some sensors in it, and 4 of them. It makes sense if this is going to be soaking up actual bullet ammunition, because IBO has real ammo, not beams, then it makes sense to have a curved face mask on to deflect ammo. It's a cool design. It just works out well. I love it. Unique. Moving down to the torso, and again, a great design visually. Basically, kind of the same as what we would have seen on the Hyakuren. We've got some nice curving in armor from around the sides. The vents there, of course, are stickers. We've got a couple of pistons down there in the abs section, as well as that kind of dark olive green again. Just, it's layered up very, very nicely, and it's very effective. One powerful looking mobile suit. Around the back, we have a pair of thrusters, giving me a little bit of Sinanju energy, just a little bit squared off, almost like the Sinanju Stein. The thrusters inside looking good. Again, we are missing a little bit of color separation up top. It's meant to be the lighter blue on the top segment there. But overall, these are incredibly impressive looking. Very, very nice. Next up, when it comes to the arms, again, a nice kind of blocky sort of look to them, but still a little bit on the slender side. Green armor towards the front, blue to the back. We've got almost what look like canisters or hydraulics in the elbow, which makes it seem like it has powerful punches. I'm not sure exactly what this part of the design is for, but it looks beautiful. The shoulder armor is a little bit on the basic design side, just a nice curved piece of armor. Not quite as nice as on the Hyakuren. We've got one of those canisters in the top on the Hyakuren, but not here. But same little triangles in yellow, again stickers. When it comes to the skirting armors in the front armor section, we've got a almost matching reflection to the almost ribs that are running underneath the chest, which looks pretty cool. Huge butt flap around back, which gives a kind of Xeon vibes. I'm thinking maybe like the Zeong or the Dom, that kind of butt flap going on around back here. The legs are a mix of curved and squared off at the same time. A little bit on the awkward design compared to the rest of it, I do find a little bit. The way the kind of lower knee opens is a little bit funny, and of course we do have a singular foot that doesn't have any articulation in it. That is the mold on the bottom if you do want to see what it's like, and also under here we do have a little bit of sculpted detail. Again, we don't have any grey mechanical parts here, but if you did spray that in a nice grey, paint up the verniers in there, it would look very premium and nicely armored, and it wouldn't be too difficult to do either. It would finish this off very, very nicely. Moving on to the size comparison, and there it is beside 2 standard size Gundam, the Mark II on the left and the ORIX 78-2 on the right. As you can see, it's about average height, but it has a whole lot of bulk. Definitely more bulky than the ORIX 78-2, closer to the Mark II. Moving on through a few more kits now, there's the high-grade Barbatos, the high-grade G-Quacks, high-grade Freedom Gundam, and the high-grade G-Self. Jumping on into the accessories, and here's everything the high-grade Rouei comes with, and that's not too bad of a spread. As for what actually comes with the kit itself, that is the mace and the handgun, but left over on the runners is this knife, this rifle, as well as these fist weapons. And speaking of fists, the only kind of down point is we don't have any optional hands in here, only these kind of standard block holding hands, nothing expressive or nothing simple like fists or widespreads. But as far as I know, with the Iron-Blooded Orphans kits, there are some hands sold separately in the option sets. So once again, when it does come to the hands in here, it's just the standard style holding hands, no options. As for the weapons that came with the Hyakuren, first off we've got this blade. Again, it's just 2 pieces attached together. Simple, effective, very Iron-Blooded Orphans weapon, and we do have this segment right here which attaches it on like this, and that can then be attached onto the butt flap for storage. The rifle in here, this also came with the Hyakuren, so I'm not going to be taking too much of a look at this today. It doesn't have anything that happens, the magazine doesn't come out, handle doesn't move, nothing really goes on at all. Plain, simple little weapon. But as for what we get exclusive with this kit right here, first off we've got the mace. It's a standard mace, 2 parts attached together, nothing too crazy about it, and we do have a butt flap attachment. Again, in a way that's very typical of Iron-Blooded Orphans kits, it's a circular peg into a square hole where it doesn't hold flush. So it does mean it will rotate in the hand and it makes it kind of awkward to attach on at times because it is just constantly moving around. Popping the hand on is simple, it is just a ball and socket joint just like so. Whoa, chill out there. And that right there is what it looks like attached. Again, a really bad design. It didn't actually happen on camera, but this just fell right out the back of the hand. The back of the hand just absolutely pieced out and I wasn't even doing anything. Let's see if I can do that again. It was just in the hand. Yeah, it barely holds on at all. Too much leverage, not enough strength. Anyway, when it's not in use, it does have an interesting attachment. This just pops on to that little bit and then fails to close because it pushed itself off the C-clip. So I think you're just meant to have it bite down from the top on it like so, and it actually does store incredibly well. Next up then is the handgun, a very unique design, definitely. Not sure if this has a kind of sliding put away sort of mechanism because that's kind of what it looks like from here, but nothing is actually implemented into the actual model kit. It's just 2 pieces of plastic slapped together, some shallow detail printed in. This attaches into the hand sandwich style, and at least this time it does hold flush so it doesn't move around. That is what it looks like with the back attached on. And that right there is what it looks like in a little bit of a pose with the weapon attached. Now there are a couple of interesting enough features. The shoulder kind of implements this kind of, that's not a feature by the way, yeah, this kit is just normal Iron-Blooded Orphans wants to fall apart all the time. But yeah, instead of just the shoulder moving with the arm like that, there's a 2-point movement here that allows you to extend it forward, which is quite nice. Also the thrusters back here can open up, but you can kind of just see into the hollow points. It doesn't necessarily look much better than when they are closed. And yeah, decent enough pile of accessories, but the quality on them all is very minimal, to say the least. So now jumping on into the articulation, and when it comes to the kind of solidness of this kit, it is definitely got that kind of polycap sag and bounce. The arms aren't particularly strong, and this is kind of par for the course for Iron-Blooded Orphans kits, but the one thing that keeps annoying me is the knee keeps popping off at this point. It's one of those little tabs into one of those polycap slots, but there's something about the way it's engineered that it just kind of fulcrums itself out all the time. Anyway, usual pose. Getting into the usual pose was very, very simple. We don't have any front skirting, so the legs slid right up. There's more at the ankle than you'd actually expect, especially towards the front. The pivot in the body, the shoulders actually give a lot more than expected, and overall, this right here is what I got in the end. It's not the worst pose ever. Now, there might be other poses this can't pull off too well, but yeah, dynamic enough, especially with those wings on the back. Have to say, I'm somewhat impressed. So anyway, that is it for the review, and that is it for the high-grade Rouei. This right here is X Silver tier, so it's a decent enough high grade when you think of older kits, but nothing too special. Aesthetically, it's not too bad. It's a unique looking design. The torso and the head look absolutely incredible. The backpack thrusters as well look quite nice, but there is a whole plethora of stickers in here for attaching onto stuff with some very large areas of stickers needed. For the most part though, it's pretty much 85% color accurate to the line art and looks really good, honestly. When it comes to the articulation in here, it is a lot better than I expected it to be. Now, I don't consider the flimsy aspect into articulation, by the way. That goes into build, and that's why that's so low. But when it comes to the actual articulation, this gives more than I ever expected it to. The only thing that's a little bit locked in place is the ab zone and the torso, which is typical for older kits. But the legs have a lot of nice movement going on, so do the arms, and the shoulders have an interesting gimmick that do make some hollow points kind of apparent, but otherwise not bad. When it comes to the accessories in here, we've got quite a few things, but not a whole lot of quality, so it's bang smack in the middle with 2.5 points. The design of the items in here is fun and cool, but they're not really implemented too well. For example, it can't really hold onto the melee weapons without them kind of just rotating around the hand and just piecing out the hand entirely. Again, some modification needed. Lastly then, when it comes to the build, this is probably the worst aspect. This just keeps falling apart, falls apart at the shoulders. I lose the lower legs from the knees down. I've had the hips pop 1 or 2 times and the head just roll right off. Again, a kit that's going to need a lot of modification, a decent amount of painting, so not necessarily the greatest kit to get for an out-of-box build. Definitely going to need some mods, some color, to be a very, very nice kit, but the foundation is definitely there. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. That was 36 of 50 for Buildmas, and I'll see you again tomorrow. As always, this video right here and every single video I make would not be possible without each and every one of you guys who watches this video. And special thanks at the end of this video right here to those who support on the channel memberships as well as over on Patreon, including Caleb Engelhart, Joe, OG59061, Scotty Thomas, and Simon.